this afternoon who are going to help us. They're the district experts in Teachscape, and they're going to help us understand what our goals are between now and the end of the year. We're taping for Channel 3 for other schools that might need this access, this information, and also for our ELL and special ed people who couldn't be here this afternoon. So you should leave with a really strong understanding of what you need to do for your point of contact and what the expectations are for Domain 4 by the end of the year. So I'll turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, everybody, for being here and for having us go through this information, which I think is really very important for you. As you saw when you came in the door, we've tried to put you in the groups according to the cycle that you are on in Teachscape. And let me tell you the method to the madness of what cycle you're on. So you can see along the side here on the bookshelves, there are 4 different cycles that are in Teachscape, generally. So the first one is probationary. There are my probationary people right here. And each of the cycles have different tasks within the cycle. So I've tried to list there what are, I think, the important tasks in that cycle. So for probationary teachers right here, there is 1 scheduled observation and 2 unscheduled observations. And then there is a Domain 4. I'm going to take you through, sorry, I'm a mover, so I'm going to take you through and show you what the dashboard for each of those looks like. In fact, thank you to Kara, because Kara's dashboard is up here on the screen. And so Kara's dashboard looks like this. It says 15-16 probationary teacher evaluation, and she has the list of all the things that she needs to do. Okay? So that's probationary. I'll go a little bit deeper into them in a moment. The next cycle that we have are continuing contract on cycle people. And those are my teachers right here in these middle 2 tables, right? And so thank you to Kathy, who is going to let me show you her dashboard. But while that's coming up, let's just look at the list of what continuing contract people need to do. This is a little bit bigger. So continuing contract on cycle people need to do they get 1 scheduled observation. And then there are 3 additional points of contact that they need to do. The first point of contact is with a peer. And my off-cycle people, I want you to listen. Because the point of contact that you do with a peer is, and what you have to document, is simply that you did it. This is non-evaluative. It is not part of the system where you get rated. It is simply that we want you to do something collaborative with a peer. Okay? And if you notice on my off-cycle people, you have a point of contact with a peer as well. That's why I wanted you to pay attention. Back to my continuing contract people, you also have a point of contact that, as the educator, you say, this is what I want to do as my point of contact, Dawn. And there's a list where you select from a choice of 7 or 8 points of contact that you say, this is what I'd like to do, Dawn, for my point of contact. And then there's a 3rd point of contact that Dawn selects and says to Kathy, I want you to do this point of contact with me.
And staff may recall that John and I let you know in the fall that point of contact is going to be a data review.
Okay. Can I have another name for my on-cycle people?
Megan.
Megan? Spell it for me, Megan.
Meghan.
Okay. Okay. And then finally, for my continuing contract on-cycle people, you also have Domain 4, which is professional responsibilities, and you have a professional growth plan. So let's see, Megan Taylor?
Prestis.
Sorry, Megan. Okay. So now I'm going to show you what the dashboard for the on-cycle people looks like. Now, off-cycle, off people, pay attention here, because this is what yours will look like next year. Okay? So these are the tasks that the on-cycle person needs to do. You can see the scheduled observation, then you can see the peer point of contact, the educator selected point of contact that they do with the evaluator, and then this evaluator selected point of contact. Dawn asks you to do. You've got domain 4. There's some year-end summative, and finally for my on-cycle folks, a professional growth plan. We'll talk more about that momentarily. All right? So we have probationary, we have on-cycle. Any questions so far? Okay, if you do have questions, there are little yellow Post-its on your table. Please jot down that question, and you can either post it on the question sheet, or I'll just answer it as we go. All right, so now my off-cycle people. And thank you, Chris. So you were put on the cycle by your date of hire. And the HR department set that up. And so depending on, they did it, I think, it doesn't matter how they did it, but if you're off cycle, your dashboard looks like this. And what we tried to do is cluster people by their date of hire. So if you're off cycle, as Chris is, this is what your dashboard looks like. And if I look back at the poster near Bernadette, what off cycle people need to do is a point of contact with a peer, and they need to do the professional growth plan. In addition to that, what's on here for my off cycle people, it says a mid-cycle conference form. If you are off cycle, you are going to be off cycle for 2 years, presuming that all is going well, and So if you're off cycle for 2 years, your mid-cycle review, which you see on the dashboard here, is going to be at the beginning of the next year. So if you're in a 2-year cycle, the mid-year of that cycle is at the beginning of the next year, correct? It's not the mid of the year. Mid-cycle of a 2-year review. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So this is what that dashboard looks like. And then my off-cycle people, you are not on the system yet, because as we were transitioning to this new system, we had to find a way that was manageable for us to get everybody on. So based on your date of hire, you are the last group that will come on cycle next year, and you will have all of the tasks to do that on-cycle people have. The one thing that you need to do off-cycle people is a point of contact with a peer, and you need to give Dawn the paper that says you did that point of contact with a peer. That is all you need to do. And I think for most of you, I sent you that form and the list of the points of contact. So that is all you need to do. Yes?
I thought we had to do the T-Val goal setting and professional growth plan.
Well, so in some places, in some schools, if your principal says, I would like to have goal setting on you, that is perfectly fine. The reality is you are going on cycle next year, so that's a good conversation piece for you to have with an administrator, but because we were transitioning on, we haven't been so focused on making sure more paper gets done, because really this system will capture everything, and we're really trying to, become having less, files full of paper. So this system holds it. So if you've done it, perfect. Okay.
So all we really need to do is not just this form.
Just that form.
And the paper copies.
Yeah, and for those for my off cycle people, that's the one piece of paper that you need to do and give to Dawn.
Gotcha.
Okay. Question? Yes.
Sorry,
all right.
hopefully this applies to everybody. So I heard what you said about data fire, and that's where we were placed. Did that start last year, or that does like this year?
It started last year.
Okay.
So, but last year, if you were on cycle, which would be you all, right? You were on cycle last year.
Evaluation last year.
It was done on paper for you last year.
It's not on it.
Correct. Correct.
So we would not be off.
Nope, you're off. Again, in the transition, we had to phase it in. So we phased it in with all probationary people first. And then last year, we phased our next group of people to use Teachscape, but we did it all on paper, you might remember. And then this year, we phased in the next group of people to be on the platform, and we phased you who did paper last year to be off cycle. And then we have our off cycle who aren't on at all, but will be next year.
Thank you, that was very helpful.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to go, so any questions so far? Does everybody understand where they are and why they are where they are? Okay. Yes, Kathy.
Can I ask a quick question about the on-cycle continuing contacts? We have one with our evaluator, that's Dawn, one with the peer, and what's the other one?
So
The other one's the data? Or?
the one, okay, one with the peer, one that the educator gets to select that they will do with Dawn, with your, or John, if they're assigned to you. That's the educator selected one. And then there is an evaluator selected one that Dawn or John says, this is what I want you to do. And you said, what was that going to be?
review.
That was going to be a data review for everybody. Okay, so let me just show you a bit on this, on the, I'm going to go back to Megan. For a minute. And this is the same for all of the platforms. So you saw the dashboard, this is what I'm calling it. There's this dashboard that lists everything that one needs to do. If I expand all, then within the dashboard there are particular tasks. And the task is either assigned, so for Megan, John Dickerson, JD, is assigned that particular task, and MP is Megan. Whatever is assigned to Megan is Megan's to do, and whatever is assigned to John is John's to do. And if we look along all of the tasks that there are to do, we can see by this sort of task bar here that if the little triangle is, or the diamond is yellow, then that means the task has been submitted. If there's a check mark, that means it's been completed. If there's a half a diamond filled in, that means it's in progress. This helps both the evaluator and you as the teacher know where you are in the process. As we've gotten used to the system, I've tried to work with folks to kind of give you some shortcuts to help within the system, because there are many touches onto the system, and I think we really want to try and make it not so many touches on the system and make it really reasonable for people to do. So within the dashboard there are multiple things that need to be done. I want to say, because this typically, this typically comes up, remember this year we are not doing this review of student data. Not this year. We will be doing that next year. So nobody is doing a review of student data this year. That will be next year. Okay? So it's okay
So
that...
I think that confused everybody, because we had said that we were going to do a review of student data.
Okay, two separate things, right? So your review of student data that Dawn's asking you to do is the evaluator selected point of contact that she's asked you to do on cycle people. So that is going to go under this piece, under here on the dashboard. This is going to go under this place, the evaluator selected point of contact. And so Megan would upload her student data after she's had a conversation with John about it, and she would upload it there. So what Dawn and John are asking you to do is separate from the student data piece that's down here on the dashboard.
So the second student data piece is the one that's Val's been representing us on the discussions about what value is going to be given to student data in the evaluation process that's being negotiated with the union.
Design.
That everybody has some awareness of. So that's a different conversation than...
That's the matrix, which we rolled out January, February. We rolled out a matrix that said what the percentage of growth needed to be. PK to 2 teachers are using the CPAA data. 3rd grade teachers are using NWEA, and 4th grade teachers are using the state assessment that's required by statute. Is that right? Okay. So yeah, thanks for that clarification. Okay, so I guess the what we were going to talk about today is domain 4, particularly, because here's where you get to work within the system. So my off-cycle people, you can zone out for a minute if you like, or you can listen because you'll be doing Domain 4 next year, okay? But for my on-cycle and probationary people, this is what we're going to talk about right now.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Of course.
It only affects probationary, but on our third year, we do a growth plan. Is that the same thing as when we become a continuing contract on cycle, or are they two separate growth plans?
Great question. So, the question about the professional growth plan. So notice that continuing contract people are going to do that professional growth plan because they are going to be off cycle for the next 2 years. So that growth plan becomes the plan that they're going to work on with their administrator next year and the year after for 2 years. Probationary folks, you will be in that same plan. You will make a professional growth plan and you will become off cycle. You will be off cycle 1 year, off cycle the second year, and then come back on the cycle again. So it's just a rotation of the cycles. Okay? All right, so Domain 4. If we look at Domain 4, and I can see Domain 4, but I want you all to know that if it's not assigned to me, doesn't have my initials next to it, I can't get into it. So again, thank you for those people that are letting me use your dashboard here. So in the Domain 4 assessment, probationary and on-cycle folks, you get to do a self-assessment. Each teacher gets to do a self-assessment. And if you click on that, so my on-cycle people, are you there? Are you able to click on it? So just click on that self-assessment, and it should then say Start. And when you open up Start, what you're going to see takes a little bit to cook. All right, so you should see a page that says Notes and Evidence, and here's the shortcut I'm going to give you, okay? So I'm going to ask you to go directly to Score.
Am I going to be able to?
Yep, you're going to be able to come back. Fine. Click on Score. Okay. Now you have a page that says 4A, Reflecting on Teaching. That is the component, one of the components under 4A. The shortcut is you can rate yourself, and I presume some of you maybe have been keeping track on a piece of paper. These are all the things I do in 4A or 4B or 4C. You can just rate yourself and then put a summary in that box of your evidence of giving yourself the rating of 3 or 4 in that box.
So you just write about it.
You can just write about it. Now, the step that I had you skip was where, if this were October, you might be going in and you're going to put in, this is what I did in October, and then this is what I did in, another time. You're going to be able to go back and forth. Notice at the bottom of that page on the left, it says Save and Finish Later. You can always save and finish later. You can always go back and forth in that box. So just click Next for me. So click Next. So you'll be able to go to 4B, Maintaining Accurate Records, and then you can put a little example in there and say what it is. Please, before you get out of that, make sure you save and finish later, because you're not done, unless, I think we're going to spend some time doing that today. I think you're going to have some time to do that. You give yourself a score, you put in the evidence, and then you go on to the next one. You can always, always save and finish later. And so let's actually right now, everybody, just save and finish later, and then I'm going to show you how you're going to get back in. So save and finish later, and that should bring you probably back to your dashboard. Now try to go back into that Domain 4 self-assessment, and it'll say Edit, and just click on Edit, and you'll come right back where you left off. So see how easy that is to kind of toggle back and forth in that system? The system will prompt you. If you say submit, it will say, are you sure you want to submit? It will prompt you like, are you sure? So don't worry about, like, oh, I want to make sure I'm not finished. It will always prompt you. But please also remember save and finish later. Yes?
So submit means?
Submit means final. Okay? So you're going to want to do that at some point, and Dawn may give you a deadline, because then Dawn and John are going to go in and do their assessment of you in Domain 4. And then, hopefully together you have a conversation, because the eventual, rating on that will be something that Dawn and John will do.
It's a little confusing because on our progress reports, submit means save.
Yeah,
So
but
just as long as we know
yeah,
submit means
different
final.
systems, right? Different systems. Again, it'll prompt you to say, are you sure you want to submit this, okay? Questions?
Discuss the artifacts that we're supposed to.
Yes, I'm going to discuss artifacts in a minute. So everybody okay with Domain 4? Okay. Bernadette, do you want to take your probationary folks now, or probationary, do you have any other questions for me? Because we're going to start doing uploading of artifacts next. Now I'm going to talk about artifacts and uploading. Everybody there? And you may want to, if you're comfortable with what this looks like, you may want to pay somewhat of attention, because you're going to be doing this next year. So it could be helpful.
So let's wait and ask him.
Okay. Do we want to start with questions about uploading? Or do you want to just jump into how to do it? Yes?
Well, I wondered if you have to have artifacts for everything.
Great question. You do not need to have artifacts for everything. And let me give you an example. So here again, we're on Megan's dashboard, and the first point of contact is going to be with the peer. There was an error in this peer point of contact on the platform. Because remember I told you that the peer point of contact is non-evaluative? Unfortunately, the form got put in the system. So for those of you who have it, if you click on that, that is the form that asks you all the questions about it. Do not fill it out. Here's where you want to upload that artifact right here that says you did the peer point of contact with someone. Okay? And the form for that, I'll show you what it looks like here momentarily. The form for that looks like this.
This is one set.
Does this look familiar to people? I've seen it. Okay. So this is the one that you want to upload that says you did it. Okay. If you have it in a document that you've saved on your laptop, or if you just did it on paper.
Sheila, can you explain where to find that? I found it, but now I can't tell anybody else how to find it again.
Sure.
That form.
Yes.
So
Okay.
that form, and then there's that other one, the professional development
Yep.
one, and I know they're online.
They are online. So
And you can work with them?
yes.
Yes.
They're Word documents. So let me show you how to get there. So you're going to go to the district website. Okay. You're going to go under departments. You're going to click on academics. And then you're going to click on evaluation system for educators and leaders. So departments.
One more time.
Yep. Departments. Academics. And then evaluation system. Okay, so district website, you're going to go to departments, then you're going to click on academics, and then after academics it's going to say evaluation system for teachers and leaders, something like that, right?
Yeah, educators and leaders.
Educators and leaders. So click on,
You gotta get out of the fish tank.
yeah, get out of the fish tank. So all all PPSDs, or no, district home, sorry.
Is it resource?
Education, just evaluation system for education and leaders. Click on that.
So it's the
Departments, academics, and evaluation system.
Evaluation.
Okay, and then you'll probably get a screen that looks like this, where you have to put in your credentials if you haven't been there before, right? Or if you haven't logged in recently.
That's just our tradition.
So you put your login information in, and once you've done that, you have a couple of folders there. You've got a folder that says teacher, T-Val, evaluator, evaluation forms, and T-Val teacher evaluation forms. You can look in both files, they're open, but you want the teacher one. So you click on that form, and the point of contact, or the peer visits observation, that form I folded is in this folder that says peer visits observations.
Yes.
Just click on that, and there's the form. And it'll download into you wherever your documents go, and then you just collect it, and there it is.
Maybe I'm not focused.
Everyone able to sign it? Here's what I would do for people who just found that form. Guess what? It's a Word document. So you can type right in it. You can say I'm at Hall, or you can say that I'm going to say I'm Sheila Jepson. I can spell my name right. And then I'm going to say I'm at Hall. And then I'm going to go in and write on this document. And I'm going to save it to my desktop. Okay? So I'm just going to put some dates in here.
So now it's on your computer.
That's right. The off people have to do this by hand, but my on-cycle and my off-cycle people, you can do this. Just you don't have to do it by hand. You can do it on the Word document. So I'm just going to finish putting some dates in here. I'm going to sign it. And I did my observation with Sandy Sherry. So I'm going to sign her name on there. Okay. Then I'm going to save this document. Right, and I'm going to call this my POC with Sandy. And I'm going to save that to my desktop. What? Okay. Is everyone with me? Or are you? No? Okay. Tell me when to stop. Did you all find the form? Yes. Okay. And you know that you can write on the form. It's a Word document.
If you're not off.
If you're not off. I'm not talking to you guys.
Right. You don't have to do that. I mean, you don't want me to push it.
You don't have to. No, I just want to make sure you know where to find it. Okay. I just made up some dates there, right? But if you're doing it, fine, yes.
So this form, we just talked about, it's sort of a guide on how to do the peer visits. But we don't, so we fill this up for our own use in our visit, but we wouldn't upload this as a document.
I'm going to show you how to upload. You're going to upload it to say you did it, because Dawn wants to know that you did something with a peer.
So this would be the artifact.
This would be the artifact you upload.
But not the filled out form.
Correct, not the filled out form.
Just the blank form?
Any peer. Anyone. This is to do something collaborative. Yes, Captain. We need to make sure you save it where you know where it's going to be. I know I have so many files and downloads and whatever. I usually save it to my desktop. Because what you're going to do when you get to upload it, so I've saved this to my desktop now. And so if I'm Megan, I'm going to go and I'm going to click on that artifact. Oops, sorry. And I can't do this because I'm not Megan, but did you click on it, Megan? The point of contact?
Yes, I
one?
have it open.
Okay. And what does it say? You're on Teachscape. So click on the peer. And say you want to, you're not on the form, go to the artifact. So when you click on the artifact, it should say start. Click on start, and then it's going to give you a prompt to upload. And so you're going to say upload the artifact, and then it's going to ask you where is it? And it's going to say, is it on your desktop? Is it in a file? Where is it? So you're going to go and grab it wherever you put it. You're going to click on it, and you're just going to upload it, and there it will be.
But we don't upload it
Until it's done. Yeah, when you're done. But I'm just showing you how to do the upload. So,
So you give someone this one, we'll go back in and put it.
I don't know where you put it. You put it
on my desktop.
Okay, so just put that out, click that out, or get rid of that for a minute. Don't, yeah, just put it down there. Is it somewhere here? See if you can find it, right? So did you find it? Okay, and then you're just going to submit. And then it'll appear there. Okay? Did you find it? Okay, so it's called Carrie G. So go back to Teachscape. So are people working with this upload? Do you have any other questions about it?
I just want to make sure that the form that I uploaded is uploaded.
Okay, then you should be able to look right at it on the system.
So here's, it's this peer visit point of contact form, is that correct? So when I go into mine, and this is the one I
Looks like it's there.
uploaded.
Yep. So click on it, and it should be.
It did open.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just going to say download because I think that's the way it
Yep.
opens.
Okay. And then there it is.
And was I right that I should have written down all the dates that we did that?
Yes.
And then L is the other.
That's correct.
Elementary learning, so it's the two
Yes.
of us. Okay.
That's correct.
Wow.
So some people are going to have a signature that's a type-in signature, right? I never knew how they did that. Like, this is my, people know, I think, online that your signature is simply going to be your name, right? For my off people now, when you do this, you're going to handwrite it and give it to Dawn. That's what you're going to do. If you all have done it, okay, so now go to your point of contact with the peer. Yeah, click on the little triangle. Yep. And then click on Artifact. And then say Start. And then it'll say Upload.
Major me who doodles all the time.
And there it's going to ask you, where is it? You called it Carrie, right? Yep. Yep. So click on that. And then say Submit. Or upload. Yeah. There, it's right there. There it is. So submit. Okay. Any other questions about uploading?
So the peer form we saw, the evaluator is going to be the data review. So the middle one, the educator, is that form that was on?
Okay, so now let's look at the educator point of contact. If everybody's okay with the peer one, let's move on to the educator, that second point of contact, and that's going to be just for my on-cycle people. Okay? So the my off-cycle people, you don't have to listen to this. All right, so my on-cycle people.
Except that eventually they'll be there.
So you'll be there. So listen, but you don't have it in front of you, so it's a little harder. All right, so click on your evaluator selected point of contact. And
Educator?
educator selected, yep. And so now you're going to click on this point of contact form that's under that one. So now you're doing the point of contact that you selected to do with Dawn. You said, Dawn, I want to do a curriculum review with you. So you and Dawn sat down, you're calling up that point of contact form. Yeah, good. That's the form. Oh, that's assigned to Dawn, so you have to find the one that's assigned to you. You're on to click on this one. Point of contact form right there. Click back on here. And you're going to click on that form that's assigned to you. Click on that form. And you should be, once you're on that form, you should be able to type right in that form. The document is right there in the system. These also, if you notice, I think they have a save and finish later feature, so you're never going to be done until it will prompt you, are you sure you want to submit it? So see if you can type your name in there, because other people were having a hard time. Nope, some people are and some people aren't. Tony's not having a hard time. And other people are fine too, so that's a good thing. You found it okay? Yeah. Well, did you do a selected point of contact with Dawn?
No. She's done an evaluation.
Okay, so where's Dawn? Have people done an evaluator selected point of contact?
No.
No?
Talk a little bit more about the choices.
Sure.
I just printed something out here.
Oh, thank you.
Want me to make copies, or do you want to just...
Let's just look at it.
I printed it out.
So the form looks like this. You can find it in that same folder you found the other form. This is the list of the different point of contacts you can choose from.
I'll make copies for
Right?
people if you want.
Thank you. So you could ask Dawn, this is your choice again. Dawn, I want to do a video lesson. Dawn, I want to do a curriculum review. I want you to come and do another short observation of me. This is your choice. And then there's an other category here which leaves it open for you to have a discussion about. It might be that, you know, between the two of you, you want to do something that's not on this list. This is just a list of choices that you have, that we're suggesting. Thank you.
And is that one more of a conversation meeting to talk about something versus a coming in like our scheduled observation?
Yeah, it can range. Again, it can range from a curriculum review to a video lesson to another short observation. So you might say, boy, Dawn, when you came in and observed me for the scheduled observation, it really didn't go very well. So I want you to come in and do another short observation with me, or another extended observation with me. Because that first one, I was off my game, my kids were off their game. So this gives you an opportunity to do another if you choose to. That's your choice. And then Dawn, you can see whatever's assigned to Dawn, she needs to do. Whatever's assigned to you, you need to do. And there's a place there for you to upload an artifact if you want to for that point of contact. Again, you don't always have to upload an artifact. It's there for the choosing. If you want to upload an artifact, that's a good thing. It's just more documentation, it's more evidence, but you don't have to. Yes?
So where is that form again? I'm in related documents.
Yep, I do know what folder it's in.
Yeah, I got it from...
So let's go back to our folder online that you were here. It is on that front page. It's called Point of Contact Descriptions.
It's the page before that. Go back. I think.
So where you went in a folder to get that peer observation list, go back to that page, and it's right on that page. It's not in a folder. It's a document itself.
Under the evaluation system.
Yeah, scroll down. It should be, again, go in the teacher evaluation one. And it should be right there, point of contact descriptions. Okay?
Thank you.
Yep.
You guys, do you want
It's
me
in
to
the teacher evaluation forms, so click on that.
I've got it now. You got my computer.
Then scroll down and it should be right on the front page. I think you clicked on the wrong one.
This page that tells
There's one that's for the evaluator and then there's one for teacher. Yep, the bottom one. Yep. Click on that. And then the point of contact descriptions sheet should be right there. Everyone find it? And thank you, someone's making copies of it for you, but, oops, sorry. Okay, time for questions. Yes?
What do these numbers mean at the bottom, like 2, 1?
Ah, yes. What do those numbers mean? So if you notice I'm going to go back to Megan, and I'm going to go back to her, okay, I'm going to go back to Megan's dashboard, and someone asked, what are these numbers right along here, along the bottom? So that's going to show the progress for Megan on her dashboard. So you can see out of all tasks, she has one task that's in progress. She's got one task that she hasn't started yet, and then the practitioner who's working with her has one task that's that's in progress. So that's just a way, that's just keeping track of all the tasks that there are to do. It keeps track of where she is in her progress. I can see some of you have some green, which means that you've completed some things.
Wow.
Wow. And that's good. You want to be in the green. That's what you're shooting for, to be in the green. That means you've completed or you've confirmed something, and that's what we want to see. Yeah, and right. And so the other piece around this is that there are different people who are trained to do evaluations or to do a task with you, and you might see that change on your dashboard. So John might have one task, and then Dawn might have another task. And I don't know, Dawn, if you want to speak to that, but the evaluators have this fluidity to change who might do a particular task, depending on what it is. If I'm an administrator in my building and I have to observe someone 3 times, I might say, I'll do that person twice, and I want someone else to take another look. So that will get assigned to a different person. So sometimes those tasks might change, and that's really building dependent. You want to speak to that?
Well, I think probably not so much the people that are left in the room, but there's some awareness on the part of our new teachers that Bernadette and Carol Ridley came in to help us with the third observation of new teachers that there was a close deadline on that we didn't get all the way through. So I just went in and reassigned to a different name, and then that person has access, and then when they're finished, they reassign it back to me. And John and I haven't had a chance to look at the final conferences, but we'll be dividing those up too. So you may have been observed by John, but I'd be the person meeting with you. So yeah, we do try to make it very interchangeable.
The point of contacts too.
Yes.
So as far as meetings, like, do we need to meet with you before we do this one?
Nope.
Okay.
The point of contact is totally independent to teachers. There's no evaluative nature to it. You have to hand us in the paperwork so that we have a record of what you did.
So all 3? No, one is going to be yours. But the other two, we don't need to say this is what we're going to do.
No.
Okay.
So it's a little confusing.
Well, let me, yes, and you will want to have a conversation because it's your choice of the point of contact, but you ought to say if it's Dawn or John that's doing your evaluation, this is what I'm choosing as my educator point of contact. The idea is the peer you do with a peer. The next one you select, you do with your evaluator, and then the one that they choose, the evaluator chooses for you to do with them. Okay. So there is a conversation that needs to happen that just says, this is the one I'm doing. Does that make sense? Yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Well, and most of you met with either John or I in the fall when we first started this process, because back then we thought the goal setting was going to be more formal than it ended up being this year. And so I think there was some conversation then about what the selection was going to be, and then our expectation was that we'd just get the paper copy, and we would meet about the point of contact that we have to supervise, the one that's a evaluator's choice.
Okay.
On Domain 4, the new teachers right now are doing the self-assessment. Did we talk about that yet?
We did.
Okay.
And I didn't know if you wanted, I'm happy to answer more questions, or I'm happy to give you time to do the self-assessment. I showed you how to, remember, skip a step, so you go right to score, and then you get the 4A piece, and you get to write in your evidence right in the component.
Are there more questions, though, before we go to that?
I missed the answer to the question for off about whether we need to do the goal setting with you.
Not this year.
Right.
Okay. We thought in the beginning of the year that it was an expectation, but then there was a change.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, I'm still working.
I mean, and I said it's not a bad thing that you're working on it. I think that's good. My goal is to work on setting up goals, right? But Dawn's right. It wasn't an expectation. Again, we're piloting. This is a new system for us. We're figuring it out, and we'll hopefully make some decisions as we head into next year that will make the platform easy for us to manage and easy for you to manage as well as a practitioner. Yes, Chris.
Will it continue to be a 3-year cycle?
Yes, as far as I know. I don't think there's any change to 3-year cycle.
I think the only time that it might be a change is if there's a concern. Then
Right.
it could be that instead of doing a 2-year plan, you do a 1-year plan with another check-in. But that wouldn't be a surprise to anyone. That would be pretty transparent.
Other questions? Yes.
So if we're doing the self-evaluation, and part of the self-evaluation is, you know, communication to parents or communication. If I do like a weekly note, I don't have to put all the weekly notes in there. I
No.
could just, for an artifact, I could put maybe one.
Yes,
or
and
two.
an example is, yes,
Okay.
exactly. One of the things I learned in starting the Domain 4 process with people is, remember I showed you the shortcut? If this were October and we were doing this, I would say, you know, you can go into Domain 4 and start listing all the things that you do, that you've done. You can go in October and November and December. You can go in and do that. But since it's April, I think you skip that step and go right to the actual component and then write some evidence for that particular component. Here's you know, my communication with parents. Write your evidence of that, give yourself a score, and include an artifact if you want. Yeah.
You don't have to have an artifact for everything. It would probably at this stage be impossible for John and I to get through that.
Right.
So pick the highlights. And you could also, to the conversation, bring hard copies if it's not all downloaded or uploaded. If you had something you wanted to show us as a part of the conversation.
So when the John or Dawn do their evaluation of us, do they look at the artifacts that we provide?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And as you know, if you're being observed, there's a place where they can click on share notes with you. I think, you know, that's the same. You share with each other, so they see what you can see and you see what they can see if they've shared it with you. Yes.
And then you might have already talked about this, but those of us in the off cycle were noticing that there's that review of student data, and then it says there's the SLO form, which it says is a placeholder, and then there's the SLO artifact.
Right. So when we are up and running in the fall doing the SLO data, every group is going to do SLO data, whether you're on cycle, you're off cycle, or you're off cycle. Okay? So the only time that the SLO data kind of gets added up for you is the year that you have a summative evaluation. So for my people who are on cycle, right, next year you'll be off cycle, you'll do the off cycle things, and you'll do the student data. Then the following year you'll be off cycle, you'll do the point of contact with a peer and your data. Then you'll come back on cycle and do that list, and that's when you'll also do another point of data. So you'll have 3 points of data in 3 years if you're a continuing contract person. That's when your data counts, if you will, in the process of the system. For probationary teachers, it counts for them every year because they have a summative evaluation every year, whereas continuing contract teachers only have it once in their 3-year cycle when they're on cycle being observed.
So the little paperclip that says SLO artifact, are we supposed to be uploading something?
We are in the process right now of creating forms. Okay. So for those of you who are doing CPAA and WEA state forms, we're creating the form that you will have to use there to upload.
So nothing this year.
Nothing this year. Or we may do like we did with the point of context. It may be just loaded right into the system there.
And I know it's different, like for library media specialists, because the student data piece I thought was, first they thought we were going to have to include it, and then they decided no.
Right, you're exempt by state statute. Library media specialists are exempt. Social workers are exempt. School nurses are exempt. Right. You're exempt from the student, you're exempt from the student data piece, but you're not exempt from the other. So your evaluation is 100% Danielson and everything that you put in there. You're exempt from the student data piece.
I'll upload that then. I'd love questions.
Other questions? This has been good. The questions have been good. I think taking you through the process has been really good. Happy to answer more questions or hang around. But if not, Dawn?
We will
dedicate this time to the self-assessment, whether you do it today or you do it on your own time.
But off people don't do assessments.
Nope.
Is there
You
a-
don't have it.
We
Nope,
don't
you
do
don't.
the data.
Nope, you're
Is
just
there
doing
a
the peer.
guide?
You're just going to upload the
Self-assessment, the first.
Thank you very much, Sheila. Thank you. Yep, thank you. Yeah, you just need to fill out that
I
form
noticed
again.
in that first page.